Okay, everybody. It's gonna be a little bit longer before we start the podcast. Just have a seat. You just need to grab it if anybody is here. If there's anything you need to grab, go grab it now before we start the podcast. Be back in 15 more minutes. And we're live for the Anime for All. Wow, I've had a Freudian slip. We were live for Anime4All episode 11. Titled this, I forgot what I titled it. This is a nice night. I titled it something. Exam Part 2. You hear me, Doc?
Hey.
Crap. Oh, and okay, we're here again. That was my bad. I pressed the button.
Please don't press the button.
Something's wrong with that statement after I put Froppy on the freaking screen.
Frappy's the greatest thing in the world.
I'm tempted to remove it
Why?
because I have the power.
Oh, I already saved it to my desktop. It's my new wallpaper now.
You know, you can just grab that image and probably plenty other images off of the Wikipedia, right?
What?
There are plenty of images of Froppy on Wikipedia.
Are you kidding me?
Where do you think I got this image from?
Can we do this tomorrow then? So I can go look at pictures of Frappy?
See here. I think this is episode. Well, I guess it's more aftermath. I say it's exam part 2 because we're dealing with
I'm
Well,
thirsty for Frappy.
well, she is in this episode. A little bit more than thought she would be. Only small cameos, and then her in bed. Granted, we also got Uraraka in bed. Bakugo.
You understand what you just said?
Yes, I'm glossing over it. We got Deku in bed. We have Todoroki. There's actually plenty of people who are sleeping. Yes, I realize what I said. I'm glossing over it. I do not need you in your Froppy obsession.
Oh my god!
Over
Well,
this video.
You're the one that invited me into the podcast.
You could have said no.
I know, but I didn't, and now I've brought Frappy with me.
There's probably a body pillow of her. I probably should not be saying this.
A Frappy body pillow?
I'm pretty sure there is one.
If not, I'm gonna have Etsy make one for me.
I think there's a Momo body pillow. Enough of that. It's like nothing really happened this episode other than I guess we saw a couple we saw some characters. We found out Eraserhead's now dealing with Eri so she can get well, get better.
Mm.
Which is interesting because we found that out after All Might and the return of President Mike show up. I miss that character. Just for the simplicity that he's just really, really stupid. But I love when he's there. He's probably my one favorite like side, I guess, B heroes from the series. Um Another thing too, I guess from the intro, you can also tell that that Kyoko Jiro is gonna have a part this arc. Um and because they spoiled it in the intro, I don't feel bad about saying it here. This is going to be the school festival arc.
Are you talking about the earphone Jack one?
Yeah, her name is Kyoko. That's her actual name.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, I noticed she was all over the intro.
But yeah, since he did it in the intro, I don't feel bad about spoiling this because it's not really much of a spoiler. If you know about Japanese tradition and how schools work over there, this is the school festival. I guess they had to have this one in there. I guess I don't know. Before I remember this arc, I enjoyed it. Specifically because okay. Huh. Yeah, nothing I can say is not gonna be okay, so I'm not gonna say it. But I think you're gonna like this one because of there's something in here that I think when I was reading it that I remember you addressing it last season. But I think you'll probably I'm not sure if you remember you addressing it, but it has something to do with a mindless drone. But you I think they're gonna address some of it here, and I guess they're gonna expand upon something because we it's more of expanding upon All for One's take on like All for One's hold on the world and who he what he has done when he was out. Let's just say that without spoiling anything. I'm not sure how much I spoiled there, but I tried spoiling it not as much as possible.
I was just getting static from your end. I wasn't listening to you.
My life in a nutshell. But but yeah, Kyoko Jiro was.
Jess, can you bring it to me? I'll do it. Sorry, Jeremy. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm worried that something's important happening. I don't want to interrupt it.
Oh, you're not. I'm sorry about that.
Okay,
I was
but
trying to wait. Go ahead. So Kyoto.
well, you saw that Kyoko was all over this. Well, not all over it, but she had some scenes in there that had her in the middle of it all. Um, this is actually this arc itself. Not that she does a lot in it, but this is kind of like why one reasons why I do like her. Is her personality kind of shines through here much more than it ever did when she was doing side out part parts. So I hope
You
that
mean
maybe
earphone jack?
the Airphone Jack, her most more
Yeah.
her personality kind of shines through this arc than any other arc, which is cool. That at least they're doing something with some of the other characters. Um, she's not too important. She's important enough in this arc,
Yeah.
but like I wish they did more with her. But this is kind of like why I like her. This arc will kind of give why I like her a lot. Some substance. Uh, I still Uraraka is still my favorite character, but Jiro is a close second. At
Mm-hmm.
least for female
What do you
characters.
like about her?
Well, what I like
Like,
about her, I can't
what's
say
favorite
without.
character material? You know what I mean?
Well, I had to like. Well, first I had to like watching this character do whatever they're doing. If they're like going through something,
Yeah.
essentially, which is why she wasn't on my radar until I read this arc. And then after the arc, I was like, I like her. I liked her powers because her quirk was pretty interesting. Because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, sound is dangerously powerful. It's probably the most OP thing in any fictional universe because you can't stop sound. You can't. Like you just
You can
can't.
stop sound.
No, not really. No, you can't. You may be
Yes,
able
you
to
can.
drown. You may be able to drown it out, but no sound's continuous.
It doesn't travel through a vacuum.
In a fictional universe, you can't stop sound.
It doesn't stop. Yeah, but in this type of fictional universe, that's one example of stopping sound.
You do realize she was having sound travel through mass, right? She could probably
A
make, and
vacuum,
considering,
a vacuum is an absence of mass.
I know, but I'm saying, like, I'm pretty sure President Mike could probably break that rule. I'm not gonna let real life logic cloud this,
Yeah. Well,
because
there's also the mic guy that could counter sound with sound, and then you could do something like the Hulk does, where he claps his hands and creates that sonic wave, which I'm sure would affect sound.
but couldn't the Hulk do that in space?
Um, I don't think that was like a sound-based wave, but I get what you're saying.
But whatever, like, I like her. I mean, personally, for me, it's all about character. It's all about like personality. If they're enjoyable, if I laugh, if I enjoy what they're doing,
Mm,
and
yeah.
design. And I've always liked her design, but they don't do a lot with her. It's kind of the same thing with Ashido. I like her design, but they don't do anything with her until like last series, last arc. But then again, she didn't do much in there at all. She was nothing. She wasn't really there unless she kind of flashback.
Hmm.
So like it's kind of one of those things. Like I wish they would do more with her, and then, like at least they did something with her, even if it was just a school festival. But I mean, you'll
Yeah.
see if you understand school festivals and stuff like that, you probably will already know what her major role here is, given her family. But
Hmm.
kind of also kind of goes into her reasoning for being a hero or even going to the school in the first place. If you're curious about why she's even here, uh, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are curious about why she's here because she doesn't really do a lot. But so that's one of those things where like it's good that they do this with her because it'd be interesting for them to do this with a lot of characters because they have done this with a couple of them now. Kirishima and Ashido being the latest introduction of this. Before
You know why
that,
Uraraka does it?
hmm?
We know why Uraraka does it.
You know, but she got that early on, like very early on. I'm talking about like more recent introductions about why they're at UA. Because
Yeah,
Kirishima, we got a little bit of that, but we didn't really go too deep into it. At least with Uraraka, we kind of went deep into it, and it's at first it seems like a shallow reasoning, but at the same time, it makes sense why she's here. Um,
yeah.
Froppy, I don't even know why. Did they ever explain why Froppy chose to go to UA?
Uh,
I asked you because I'm pretty sure you caught it.
no, I don't think so. I don't think they told us. They haven't really done much development with Froggy. Like they've done personality development, but not like universe building development.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, because of Wikipedia, we already know what her parents look like. So,
Yeah, and I think they showed us like a little bit of one of her family in the scene where like
did
that
they?
scene where I think they did when All Might was going from door to talk to people.
I don't think we saw Froppy's parents though, because I thought that wasn't
Um,
something I would have remembered.
it's possible we didn't, but if we didn't, if we saw anything, I know we saw Earphone, and I know we saw a few others. I thought we might have seen Frothy, but I'm not going to write it in blood or anything.
I said I don't think we saw Froppy at all until near the end of it all, where she was crying and saying she was sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Froppy was not. No, that was up 2 episodes ahead. Never mind. Yeah, I don't think we saw. We know he went to our parents because that's why she was to stay here. But I don't think we saw them,
Yeah.
which is weird because there's a drawing of them on the internet. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's one of those things they cut out for the reason. Like maybe it was maybe it was in the manga and they cut it out and they did because they didn't want to include it. That's
Even if they showed her parents, it would have just been them kind of standing there. They would never like, it wouldn't have been a scene where they were talking or anything.
I don't know. You never know what to do with the anime. They take creative liberties.
Yeah, I mean, that's my prediction. What they would have done with him. Like, I just don't. I
Well,
don't think it's time for us to learn a lot about Frothy yet. I think right now she's supposed to be kind of like a mid level character, and that she's going to come in at some point later in the game, maybe soon now, because she seems like they're pulling her to the forefront more and more. But I
I mean,
think,
yeah, they're doing a lot with her. I just wish they would figure out because like all they really said about her is that she's really well balanced. She's also really well liked. She counterbalances a lot of other people's like very uh it's not abusive, but everybody else is like very abrasive personality or whatever. Like she's
mhm.
essentially counterbalances it, which is why they paired it with Tokiyami. Um, but as like yeah, the thing is, I guess not to sound sexist or anything like that, but my hero is as well as they do with characters, they don't the creator does not do a lot with his female characters, and when he does decide to pull them out, they don't do much in the grand scheme of things. Uh, Froppy
No,
and
not really.
Uraraka have been the only two of the female characters that done more than a lot of the other female characters, which is very sad because some of them are really interesting.
Well, there's Horn Girl and Toga.
Well, they've done more. Well, I say they do more with their female villains than they do with their female heroes.
And Toga's the little Horn Girl is not a villain though.
What horn girl?
The little girl with the single horn. That's like the whole point of this like series so far.
Are you talking about hero? I'm talking about like female like villain or hero. She's not a hero or a villain. She's just a
She's I
she's just
see
a
her as becoming a hero as soon as she figures out her quirk. But I see what you mean.
I
I would
don't
have
know
put her in
about
like
that.
youngling status if she was in the Star Wars universe, like someone that they've just picked up.
I don't think she's gonna choose this side. I think she's just gonna stay in the middle, like being a normal everyday person. Honestly,
Yeah.
but but yeah, I mean somebody brought this up before, and I guess it was one of the things like I guess now I can bring this up now. It's like Uraka and Sue are the only ones that done more than any other female character, any other female hero at this point, which is very sad considering how hyped up they decided to make Ashido in the flashback.
Hmm.
You think they would have done more with her than they already have because she's like the center of a lot of antics amongst the girls in the first place. Whenever there's something going on, she's usually in the middle of it all. So that's
Yeah.
disappointing with her. Like I want to see more about her, like her personality and whatnot, and if she likes Kirishima and stuff like that. But I don't know. Invisible Girl, she's literally just been invisible this entire time.
Yeah, it's like the most ironic name in the world. It's almost like an inside they made her invisible because you never see her.
They did a little bit of Momo. She had a little like arc with herself about self confidence. They could have done more with that.
Yeah.
Um, they
They
didn't.
kind of forget about all the female characters.
Well, that's kind of the problem. They don't do a lot. The only female character that you did a lot that you kind of remember, which is ironic because she's crazy, is Toga because she's
Yeah.
done a lot. She literally has been pivotal of this entire series. Like
Yeah.
she's literally done a lot to sway the tide of things. Um,
Yeah. The only in the defense of the authors, most of the characters have come and gone. You know what I mean? So it's hard to like really dismiss it because like the characters that he carried along were a good blend of male and female. You know, the All Might before the All Mights that we know where it was a female. There are some female instructors and things like that, but you're right, they really don't do enough of them, but they're not doing. If you think about them developing a character and then throwing it aside, I mean, I feel like they even did that lately with Bakugo, and you know, even Bakugo has like been really heavy-handed sidelined lately.
and now we're on the segue. I guess we can finally segue into this part. Bakugo and Todoroki are now the center of this of their own little arc, getting the provisional licenses because they did not get theirs. Um,
Is that
essentially,
an arc or like
I
filler?
call it just a mini arc. And, like, their arc is in the midst of Kyoko Jiro. The school festival arc is really what that is. It's like this is all happening at the same time the festival's happening. So they will
Yeah, and
not
it's
be.
it's
They
almost
won't.
more like filler because I don't have any doubt that they're going to get.
Was not filler because it's important. They're going to get their licenses, but it's not filler
Mm,
because filler is something you can dismiss. You could, I mean, you can make an argument. You can dismiss this entire thing, but at the same time, um, as little as this Arthur does with this series in terms of his characters, he tends to
mm-hmm.
do a lot of like small things that you don't necessarily need, but it's awesome that they did it anyway. But you're starting to see that there's some things that he could do that we necessarily couldn't need. Like I guess going back onto it, harping on Froppy a little bit. Um, it seemed like when he did her internship that he was gonna do more with her, and then nothing happened after her internship, and then she got brought back into the forefront just to be um
Kind
one
of
of the
an
token
anchor.
chick to be one of the token chicks that are in this arc.
Yeah, almost like an anchor too. That they didn't want to like completely throw away everything that they've developed, and they wanted to have like a little bit of carryover. So they carried her over, just have a presence from the UA and what was going on in some way.
Yeah, like it seemed like they were trying to do something with her, and I guess he decided to push that further back. So I have to agree, maybe they're not gonna deal with her just yet. Maybe she's a lot more
Yeah.
important than they're letting her on to be. Which I mean, if that's the case, then shoot, fine. Like, but don't let don't let all that
Mhm.
she's done up to this point go to waste.
Yeah.
Because one of my
I
big
see her becoming like one of those heroes that is good because they've worked hard at it as opposed to like has a powerful quirk. And I feel like Uraraka's here because they want to show that Uraraka can keep up with Midoriya so that she can continue to be a feasible love interest. You know what I mean?
and that's my problem with her right now.
With Uraraka.
Yes, this is the issue, and this is kind of the reason why I cling to her so much. When they first introduced her, because a lot of times in the anime that I watched,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example of a character that did this with that I really wish they did more with her. I know you've seen Naruto, and I know you've seen Sakura Haruno, the girl with the pink hair.
Okay.
Um, they build her to a point to be up there with the main characters, right? They
Yeah.
do something with her to give her a power boost, but then they drop her like a hot sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
With me, Uraraka wasn't in that situation, but my biggest issue with her, and it's not her characterization, it's not what she's done. It's the
Hmm.
fact that they decided to string this whole little love arc thing with Deku, and it's not even the fact that Deku doesn't even notice it. It's more of the fact that I think in the provisional arc, she said that she was going to tuck away her feelings, and
Uh-huh.
my issue with that is, and I know it's going to happen because this is how usually something like that happens, is that it's going to blow up and she's not going to be able to hold her feelings in anymore. And it's going to be one of those like really all poor Raka, Deku was a dick type of thing. And I don't like that because she was so strong on her own without being in love with somebody. And as much as I always did that whole pairing thing and shipping thing with all the characters, as much as I want Uraraka to be with Deku, I want that to be more natural than it seems to be forced.
Yeah.
Like, and I know I can't be the only one here thinking that maybe the relationship between those two is kind of forced because they work really well together when they're just friends. Um,
Oh, I see what you mean.
what?
That you just don't see anything past the friendship building between them.
Right now, it seems like the only thing that that seems to be, I guess, natural is a friendship. But that's usually how relationships bloom anyway. It starts off as a friendship, and then eventually it evolves into a relationship. But
Yeah.
I forgot even like where it's. Oh yeah, I just never remember. I said I was about to say I forgot even where this whole Uraraka being in love with Deku thing came from. It was really Ashida, because like no, actually no, it wasn't her. Wait, was it her? There's a couple of things that had kind of happened, or was it Belly Button Laser Dude who brought it up first? Because I know it was somebody said that you're always thinking about what Deku would do or stuff like that, and it essentially evolved into you saying, "Are you in love with him?" or something like that. And I'm just like, I thought it was cute at first. I was like, "Ha, she's always thinking about the main character. I guess it makes sense." Um, but it's like and it didn't bother me that much really. It just like what really bothers me is the fact that they decided to have her push it back, even though you kind of already developed this situation to begin with. You're obviously gonna
Mhm.
fall back on it at some point because what's gonna happen, and I already foresee it. She's gonna get kidnapped. Is what's gonna happen. She is going to get kidnapped. I don't know by who. I don't know how. I haven't even seen this in the manga, but I'm already foreseeing it now. She's going to get kidnapped,
It'd be
and
much more interesting if Deku got kidnapped.
I mean, if they did that. Shoot, go for it. Like if they
Yeah.
kidnap Deku and she's the one that has to save him, shoot, go for it. Like
I think that would
I
be
will
awesome.
take
I think
back.
it'd be nice to give her a chance to like
I would take. Let me
shine a
continue.
little bit.
But we take, I would take back everything I made a complaint about, up to, in turning her interest in Deku. I would take it all back if that's what they were leading up to. But I don't see that happening. I
Mm.
really don't. If they do it, shoot, go for it. Then give Uraraka an arc to make her a lot more like, and they can have Froppy in there too, and just freaking, they can have a lot of characters involved in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, um, it's kind of things like Froppy, for instance, her uninvolvement isn't as offensive because they didn't try making her fall in love with somebody.
Yeah.
So like for her, it's not as offensive. For Uraraka, I'm more upset about that whole. I'm gonna push down my feelings so I can live it to a standard of somebody that I obviously have feelings for, and are not gonna address it. And so far, they've done a good job of her not addressing it, but at the same time, it's like you can only push down your feelings for so long,
Right.
and like it's gonna come up to a point where it's gonna be, and I'm gonna be upset when it happens. Uh, but like that's, I mean, I don't have to talk about that now. We have to talk about when it comes up at some point, if we ever get to that point. But that's just my problem with the female characters, and it's mostly just with Uraraka because I like her so much and she's done a lot. But then she's kind of falling into pitfalls of female main characters who get a power up and then they get tossed aside, and then they come back to just to be a marriage a potential candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't I want her to, if it, yeah, I support the ship, but at the same time I don't want that ship to be what her character is. So yeah, I hope I got my point across.
But yeah, I think you did. I think it would be very boring if she got kidnapped. I would not be emotionally engaged in the damsel in distress trope.
But you can see that's kind of where they're heading, right?
Mm.
So like, it's just like she's not a damsel in distress. She's freaking strong. She learned martial arts, so it's like, I mean, if anything, if they decided to get her kidnapped and she were to get herself out, and Deku would just be in the alleyway, Uraraka, and Uraraka's just coming out of the corner,
Yeah.
I would laugh at
The
that. But I don't really want her to do that. But for
other
that,
than to get to Midoriya, I can't think of a reason that they would kidnap Uraraka though.
that's the
She
only.
doesn't like have a quirk that anyone's gonna really want to like take it.
You say that, but she's done. Her quirks are very useful in hand to hand combat.
Yeah.
And I mean, if One for All
So are
saw
a lot of
that,
other ones.
yeah, but your quirk doesn't nullify gravity, and no other quirk does that we've
No,
seen.
no other quirk that we've seen does that. But I mean, being able to control vines is really handy. You know, and we've seen a couple heroes that can do things like that. Being able to steal someone's or copy someone's quirk is pretty handy, and we've seen someone that can do that.
But
You know, there's.
I mean, what I'm saying is like that whole like she was fine until they introduced that whole like her like, and it seemed like it. I don't know why it seemed like it's forced to me, and maybe it was just natural because I mean, yeah, they did hang out a lot all the way up to that point. So
Mhm.
maybe feelings were just natural, and I just didn't like how it came up because it's kind of being a detriment to her and versus being a boost.
Yeah.
If it was her love for Deku making her stronger, then maybe I was like, okay, it wouldn't be so bad because she got something that Sue doesn't. But Sue's more balanced, and I could see a love interest for her being what boosts her past. But I don't know who they would do that for, or if they would do that for her at all. She might not. She might even be a lesbian. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what her preferences are, but it's,
Maybe she's like one of those people that's like hermaphroditic and can reproduce with themselves.
aren't some reptiles that way
I
or
think so.
amphibians?
I know snails are. That's not a reptile, but I know that there's at least some fairly higher order animals that are.
Like all I'm really saying is that
All I'm
if I
really saying is that I want that body pillow more and more the more I talk.
you probably ever looked it up already, but
Yeah.
oh dear. Okay, back to where I got on that tangent. But yeah, I think yeah, it was Bakugo because you're saying Bakugo wasn't involved. Well, yeah, Bakugo's here. I mean, yeah, that's what it was. Like this whole little arc wasn't necessary. Well, not arc, but this little part isn't all necessary. But I think it's necessary because we do see Endeavor coming to watch his son on the do the provisional exam, and he essentially, and I was laughing so hard because I knew it was coming, but I just didn't expect it to be so funny. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all Mice walking around, I guess, well, to go take his seat, and Endeavor is just standing towering above this man on the stairs, and it's just like he's just giving him the meanest look, and all he says is, "I want to talk to you." And I was just laughing so hard because like he was so serious.
Yeah.
He
I'd
was
be
just
terrified after knowing what he did to his wife. I'd be so
we did
scared of
see an
this guy.
image that his wife was fine. He didn't do anything to her. If anything, his son was clinging to her, but that's something that's normal.
I
Like,
believe survivors, Jeremy.
huh?
I believe the survivors, Jeremy.
Survivors?
Yeah.
She didn't look like the only thing she was more insane. I don't know what really caused her to break down. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
say much because there
what
is
you're saying
something.
is it's not the man's fault. She was just an irrational woman. I
No,
understand.
what I'm saying is I know something about that predicament that you do not, and it kind of absolves Endeavor a little bit. I can't say much, but there is something about their relationship that is definitely not stated because all they show you is the bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just sitting there. There's something that kind of absolves him a little bit of guilt.
Yeah,
Not a lot of it,
he can
but
serve it
there's.
and he cries later. I understand.
I know you don't like the guy. I know you don't, and that will never change. But I'm just saying that there is something here that makes him at least a decent human being.
You have a bias towards fire heroes, though, too.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm actually looking at it legitimately as his character and stuff like that. I'm not. It's not my bias. 100% taking control here.
Mm-hmm.
Because granted, I like Todoroki a lot too. I really do. My biggest problem with him is he doesn't use his fire quirk. I know why, but I still think he should have gotten over that by this point. But that's another character argument that we can get into later. But yeah, since we see that guy, he's saying he's going to talk to him, and all you see, all might do is endeavor, and they cut away from that. Clearly, they do talk because in the preview for the next episode, they're talking, and Endeavor looks less serious there. I guess one of the funny thing too. Another funny thing is, you see Bakugo and Todoroki. They're getting ready to take the exam, and all of a sudden, the Wind Dude and the real Kami come onto the scene, and Todoroki isn't too happy to see the Wind Dude. We all know why.
Mm-hmm.
And Kami, and we know this is the real Kami because she's infatuated with Todoroki.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how
Instead of
they kind of
Midoriya.
confirm that that's not Toga. I like how they confirm that it's not Toga. Straight out. People were like, is that Toga or is that? And like, hey, it's the hot dude. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yep, that's definitely Cammy. That's the real Cammy.
Do you remember what Cammy's ability was? It was glamour or something, right?
Um, yeah, but I don't think we're supposed to have known that until this arc. Cause I think
Okay.
they explain it here what her quirk is.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, that happens there, and I think that's pretty much about it with that part. I mean, really, this entire episode is just seeing, all the students going back to their dormitory, Todoroki and Bakugo going to take their exam. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of pieces just being set to prepare us for the next episode, which is where all the action is going to happen. Because next episode, like preview, we do see that apparently whatever this is, they're going to have to, I guess, take care of kids, and I'm just going to sit there and say that I don't know whether to feel sorry for the kids or feel sorry for Bakugo. It's like that seems
I'd probably feel
this
sorrier for the kids, but that's just me.
why you feel sorry for the kids.
Because it's Bakugo.
You got a good point there. No small child should be around that. Oh no,
Did you see him doing like a child's birthday or something?
I don't know what we saw there. There was a lot of like set pieces that were all over the place, but didn't give a real good picture of what they're doing. But I guess I remember this too, because this is actually kind of integral to what I was saying before about something you kind of made a comment about last season. You see Gran Torino, see what he's been doing. We also see what Kurogiri's been doing, which was a big fat heaping of nothing because he's been acting on his own, but I don't know what he's been doing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you see Gran Torino actually back in action, and he ends up capturing Kurogiri. But then a big hulking behemoth comes out of the woods.
You know what that thing reminded me of?
You gonna tell me?
The Nebraska family from Trigun.
You mean those giant guys with the guns?
The really monstrous things, yeah. The monstrous hulking, not extremely bright things with like that were half like brainless giant and half like technology.
Sorry, I gotta get a picture of this. I don't remember them that well because first of all, they were
Look
just the
up
one.
GOSEF,
Oh dear, good gracious!
GOSEF,
Yeah, that is
Nebraska.
not what I wanted to see. That woman is probably the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Oh boy, I would never say that to her because she'd probably kill me. But just gonna go on for record. I'm just gonna go into record for that. You can quote me on that. I know you probably will. But
Mhm.
but yeah, I guess you can say like that woman is probably the closest thing to him right here. But yeah, he ap-
GOFSEF Nebraska, not the woman, although you do. But GoSef Nebraska is the one I was thinking of.
okay, let me lift that guy up. Joseph. Wait, no, wait, no, that's not it. That's not. That's a real life person.
You're really having a tough time with this.
I actually can't find it. I'm going over the place with this crap. Try again. It'll correct my
Trent Jr.
spelling. Here we go. Oh dear gracious alive. That is not the face a mother would love. I forgot actually all about him. For good reason. But yeah, that's actually kind of I turned that phone off. But yeah, but yeah, we see that this giant man thing has been apparently been roaming around the woods, and there've only been rumors of seeing him. Which you got to think, this man's been running around the woods, and you only heard rumors. First of all, who is this person, and they need to be shot.
But they sort of when they left, they sort of gave the impression that they were going to have to hunt for this.
Yeah, that's what Gran Torino said, that he had to choose between cuffing and taking in Kurogiri and attacking this thing, which actually from the looks of it, since it looks like he only managed to get out there with the policeman, tells me that Kurogiri is still out there too.
Mm.
So there's a problem with this dude because Gran Torino couldn't take him.
Well, Gran Torino couldn't take him and hold the other guy at the same time, which is very reasonable. That's like the slipperiest villain we've come across in a long time.
Yeah, they also mentioned that his warping quirk works with his hands, but I don't think that was ever stated till now.
Yeah, it hadn't been as far as I could tell.
So yeah, he either his quirk is a lot more powerful than we think, or he is very slippery, as you would say. Because I
Yeah.
don't know, like if it goes to his hands, who's to say it doesn't go to his go to his rest of his body? Like maybe his head's the only thing that's physically anchored to this plane of existence. But while all this is happening, I kind of had an interesting little thing. I knew they were after him because they said that he was probably the most troublesome, and once they finally caught him, all the others are gonna fall in there. Um, and then something that I already know that you don't know kind of came up, so I already know the answer to this question. But I'm gonna bring up, um, you think he's been warping to All for One in his prison?
I think it's pretty possible. I don't see why he wouldn't. I think All for One probably has a variety of ways to communicate with the outside world. I think he pretty much allowed himself to be captured because he knew he could function pretty well from there.
I guess, but also I guess I got another hypothetical for you. Okay, now the world knows that this man is dangerous. He's been in the shadows for who knows how long, and they finally
Huh.
capture this man, but well, not with the help of All Might, who is now retired. Now they don't
Mm.
have the symbol of peace just in case this man gets out. Do you think they're gonna? Do you think they were really just gonna put him into a jail cell without nullifying his abilities?
Um, it depends. Is one of his abilities keeping him alive? Like I think it is.
I don't know. I can't answer that without spoiling anything.
That's what I mean. If one of his abilities is keeping him alive, then it becomes a huge dilemma there about whether or not they can just kill him.
I'm just more concerned. Like this guy is the most powerful a person they've had to deal with over a millennia. I think I'm not
Yeah.
sure how long it's been, and he has quite a few abilities. And I just don't think you would, as you stated before, all for one let himself get captured.
Right.
But he should have a lot of quirks to get out. So there's no way you can put this man in a normal jail cell. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because he's so far we haven't seen him at all, and as far as we can tell, he's still in jail. So either he's choosing to not use his quirks, or they found a way to nullify just about all the dangerous ones that he has, without touching if he has a immortality quirk that's keeping him alive.
Yeah, it's very possible that they found ways to nullify his existing quirks and try to do it selectively. But that doesn't mean that he had to like sit there and read off every single one of his quirks. He could easily have something like
I'm not saying that
telepathy or
I'm not saying that he let people know what his quirks were. I'm just saying that if you like
yeah,
this man, you couldn't. There's no way you could put him into a normal conventional cell. You could,
right.
but he'd just get out immediately. Uh,
Mhm.
so like that's another thing
But there
too.
was also that scene where they show him in prison and he's talking to himself, like narrating out loud for the viewers' benefit. And he talks about how like All Might's still coddling Midoriya and has one free. And it doesn't say it's outright because he could just be thinking it was an extension of what would have happened already. But it's possible that he had knowledge that that was still an ongoing thing at that time, and that was a really subtle reveal that he had knowledge of what was going on.
I think they allow him to see TV. I think. I mean, that'd be kind of cruel and unusual punishment.
I think this guy is up for some cruel and unusual punishment, honestly. But
I don't think they could. I don't think they could give him some really cruel, unusual punishment.
no,
He's been alive for forever.
just being alive right now is probably pretty cruel and unusual. He looks pretty torn up.
Of course, he's already torn him. All Might punched him in the face, and he's still living and
Yeah,
breathing.
but he was breathing on a Darth Vader respirator to begin with, and he's been torn up from. He was torn up already from that fight. Now he's torn up from this fight. This fight broke All Might, so you would think it probably broke a lot more of him too.
You would think, but I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Now I'm probably giving him way too much credit. I will admit that. But honestly, if he was way more damaged,
Yeah.
to me, there would have been a lot more damage to him. And there wasn't. If anything, All Might just laid him out. And that was pretty much about it. He didn't seem to be all that concerned about his own well being, so he
Mm-hmm.
should have sustained more damage, but he didn't because All Might wasn't trying to kill him.
Yeah. See, I saw it as more like a Superman Lex Luthor kind of dichotomy, where All for One was like pulling a Lex Luthor strategic move, where he was like, break All Might on national television, make a big spectacle out of it. I will lose my powers that I wasn't really using anyway, but the hero universe will lose a lot more because they've lost their trump card. Now the villains are going to start coming out of the woodwork, and I'm going to start paving the way for my mentor, who I've been building up, Minty, that I've been building up for a long time. He has everything he needs, and now it's time for me to step aside and work from the shadows. So I'm going to hide in plain sight in this prison and continue my work from here. It sounds like the exact kind of thing this character would do.
No, I'm not saying that like that's not what's going on. What I'm saying is I don't think he's as damaged. I don't think All for One is as damaged as he appears to be, other than his face. Um,
Oh, maybe.
but what I'm saying is like that entire fight, which is something that Lucifer would do. He would allow himself to get beat up just to make a point by Superman because he hates him that much. That's essentially
Yeah.
what All for One and All Might's like rivalry is. That All for One doesn't like him because he's affected his monopoly, preventing him from doing all the evil things he wanted to do. He made no excuses for it either. He straight out said that All Might prevented me from doing what I wanted to do. It's kind of how Muscular said that he killed the Koda's parents only because they got in his way. He wanted to kill people and they didn't want him to. Which I mean is not funny as that is, was probably the most hilarious explanation I've ever heard a villain give.
Yeah.
No remorse. He just said I wanted to kill him. They said no. but but yeah, it's like I don't think he's as beat up as you because like honestly, other than the that never healing wound that is on his face, that is his head. That I'm sorry.
Every healing wound that is your face.
Well, that is what it
You just
is.
make that up?
No.
Okay.
That came up actually. This came out of my mouth. Of course, I made it up, but I just, it's just that never
The
you
never healing
healing
wound. I
wound that is
hate the
his.
never healing wound that is your face. I think that's one of the coldest insults I could possibly ever think of. Like, what's worse than that? I hate the never healing wound that is your face.
But that is what it is. His head's a never healing wound. As you saw, as you said before, he was on a Darth Vader respirator.
I don't care. That's flat out amazing.
But it's just like, I was like, his apparently he never healed from his fight with All Might that first time, and neither did All Might. Um, but also wanted speaking of that, I was thinking about this when I was watching somebody else react to My Hero Academia. Um, his that I guess that little form that you think is his, like, that you believe is to be his, what he normally looks like. They call that a weakened state. Like, you don't call something that's normally what you look. Well, I mean, I guess you could call Dragon Ball Z, but that's beside the point. You don't call something that you normally look like your weakened state. Now, I'm not gonna sit there and say that his hulking behemoth form is what he normally looked like half the time. I'm pretty sure he built that up over a course of years. Um, but we've seen various times All Might has been muscular, not like he is now, but like if he's been like fit in a lot of the instances that we've seen him when he wasn't hurt. I just want to bring
Yeah.
up that form that he's coughing up blood is called a weakened state.
Okay.
I just want to bring that up. It's just, I mean, it's not much substantial, but it's kind of what fuels my whole idea that that's not what it looks like. Because there are a lot of problems with that if that's what it looks like. There's no way he could walk around with all of all people screaming. But man, moving on.
Wow.
It's true. People we've already seen it too. Some woman screamed when she thought it was a walking skeleton. She literally screamed when she saw him like in that form.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, just like, I find that hard to believe. You can believe that whatever you want, but I find that hard to believe that's what he normally looks like. There is no way that's what he looks like, because we've even seen him with his normal eyes. As we see that in the ending trailer of I guess what to be when All Might was going to school. Because it's probably the first time we've seen him that young. I think that's the first time we've ever seen him in like high school days. But that must have been like All Might when he was 15. But is this anything else we could talk about? I mean, Gran Torino got away. We know that thing's still out there.
One little tiny thing would be this is just really tiny, but I remember a few episodes ago you were telling me people don't die in this series. I thought it was interesting how casually Snatch the Sand Hero was confirmed as killed on the news when they were watching it later.
I was about to say, I don't think I've ever said nobody dies in the series, but then again, no, I said, I guess what I
You
really
said
meant was that no one really, like, no one truly, like, suffers a huge defeat half the time. But this show, like, it has been shown, has this
Snatch
show,
got crushed.
what I'm saying is, like, before all that, you can't lie that he was killed, which I didn't even know he got killed, because they didn't look like he got killed, or did it?
They confirmed that he got killed at
No, I know they confirmed, but I don't know during that fight, did
615.
it look like he died?
They put him in a little ball or something like that, but they remember they said that they, something about how he could only convert part of his body to sand, so he'd probably die. And then they confirmed it here that he died. He was killed.
Okay, first confirmed death of the series.
Well,
Hooray!
along with Night Eye.
First confirmed death of the series. Hooray!
Okay, I'm probably someone else died too, but Night Eye and Snatch died really quickly. And Night Eye was a big deal, but Snatch was sort of in the background, and I felt like
No one else
that
died.
was
So I'm literally going through. I'm literally going through my brain right now of all that's actually happened to this point. Like, I mean, you could
I
say
thought that was
13 died, but 13's still around, so no, 13 didn't die.
I thought it was significant. We could go through. I thought there was somebody else that died. There was the villain that died, but
What villain?
the magnet one that was killed by Overhaul.
Okay, 3 confirmed deaths, but like as you can see, I forgot all about them deaths, so they really weren't all that like deaths that were like. I mean, yeah, they died. They're no longer in the they're no
Mhm.
longer in the canon of the series. But
They were all in the season 4. Like I can't offhandedly think of a death outside of season 4. And it's interesting that in season 4, like the first death was a big pivotal moment. Because the magnet guy, the androgynously like male female walking the line trans whatever thing guy,
I said,
like
I think let me clarify like what I said.
yeah.
I'll let you continue. But I think what I meant, and maybe I didn't say this too well. Up to this
Mhm.
point, no one's been killed in My Hero Academia. Of course, season 4 it clearly just said, "Well, let's get rid of all of that magic. You die, you die. How about you? No,
Okay, well that's fine. So he see now I completely lost my train of conversation.
you're talking. I think you're talking about like how there were people, 3 people who died, and they all died in season 4.
Yeah, but I was building up to something, and now I've lost a lot of it. He so we had right up until season 4. I really can't think of a lot of deaths. There's been a lot of people. Well, there was Ida's brother. Did he
No,
die or
he
did he just was
technically he
complete?
died. No, but he's no longer in Genium.
Okay,
But he's still around.
I
He's in a
couldn't remember.
wheelchair.
There's been some people that have been like permanently taken out, but not necessarily dead. Um, except possibly, what about that hero in the camp that was the female hero that looked like she was doing cosplay and she would get mad at everybody about her
No,
age
she's
and how
still
she was
alive.
single. She's still alive, but she's like in a
Wait,
coma permanently
wait.
or something,
You
right?
said the girl who was talking about. Wait a minute. Let me. What's the name of that group again? Cat Furies or something?
Yeah. I think one of the cat fairies might have either died or is in like a lifelong coma or something.
Let me just.
I was trying to look at the wiki. That's why I'm having a tough time with some of my names and backstories right now because I don't want to spoil myself by looking at the wiki again.
Damn it. No. I got it. Don't worry. I can't spoil myself more than I already spoiled myself.
The one that created the golems and the one that had the mind powers, between the two of them, I thought one of them might have died and the other was knocked out of commission or something.
Wait, was it the Pussycat Warriors? What was their name again? Wow,
I don't
Pussycats.
know.
Yep. And no, they're all still active.
Active, not even out of commission. Okay. Best Genus, I think, was down for a long time, but lived. So I guess what I'm talking about here is I've been trying to watch trends in the series just in general. And it seems like the trend in the series at this point is that the ante is slowly rising. I mean, we've seen consequences. One of the cool things about My Hero Academia is consequences. Like somebody goes through something and it has a lifelong impact on them. Midoriya's hands, like they focus so much on his hands to remind you that the consequences have lifelong impacts. The All Might had, he gets in fights and he's had lifelong impacts to his thing. Like these characters get scarred and hurt and killed and beaten and things like that, and have major permanent consequences for everything they do. And it's so like cool that they do that. But now in season 4, like the tension's being raised in this way that the first guy died became a major point. Like he died, the villain that got killed, like is one of the major driving reasons that Toga and Twice wanted revenge because that was their friend, and they go on about revenge, and they even to the point where they even save Midoriya by telling him, where Overhaul is to partially to help ensure that Overhaul loses, and just completely stab him in the back. And then later um, you see Night Eye die. I die. Similar situation, like it's a huge plot point for the and it's a big turning point and there's a lot of like emotion around it and all the characters are very upset by it, but now we have Snatch who was a footnote but killed, like I think it's significant because it's not because of how casual and small the detail is that like now the series is casually killing somebody. It's just like a little side note thing. Oh, there was this battle and he got killed, and previously in the series, nobody had died out before season 4, and in season 4, the other 2 people that died had huge consequences for major plot points. But this guy just kind of like, and he was out. And I think that's really, really important to remember that now the makers of the series are casually killing people off. Like that's the breaking point right there. Like they've decided to sort of casually kill somebody, and the only impact that the heroes have is Midoriya. 3 people that happen to see it on TV watch it, and they're like, "Whoa!" And then they kind of move on, and you'll probably never hear about him again. So I think that's really significant that now danger level's been moved up to that point where if someone does get killed, it can just be this minor detail.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I also hello, Elizabeth. But what was I? No, I get your point, but I think the danger was always there. It's just that a lot for a while up to now, a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
villains that we had, either they were super incompetent, Shigaraki, or they were super fanatic, Stain. And we never really had like a middle ground. Stain wasn't out to. Well, I mean, wait a minute. Did a couple people die from Stain?
Stain killed heroes, but we didn't. I don't saw them on screen. I think it was just commented that he was a hero killer. I don't think any hero that ever had any face time in the series was ever killed.
I wonder if he just injured people because I will say that.
No, Stain was the hero killer. That was his name.
Yeah, but that could have just been like metaphorically meaning that because this show does a lot of metaphors. Hero killer could just mean he stopped their heroism, heroing. I'm not
I
saying he
haven't
didn't. I'm
seen
not
it
saying he
enough to
didn't
be
kill them.
positive, but yeah, I haven't seen enough. I don't have enough evidence on hand to say you're definitely wrong, but I think that's the least likely of the two options. I think he was about to kill Ida, for example, but was stopped. I mean, Ida's brother and Ida, for that matter. I think he was about to kill them and was stopped. I think Midoriya came around the corner and saved him at the last moment.
I wish there was something. I wish this freaking wiki had like a kill count.
Episode guide.
Well, I mean that probably help, but I wish this guy. I wish he had. Ooh, that's original. Ooh, that. I'm glad they didn't go with that design for Stain. Uh, I'm trying to look to see if they have a kill count for him or something, but because all I'm saying is that he didn't kill Ingenium. I mean, technically speaking, he did, but he didn't. Like the guy is still alive. It's just he can no longer be
Yeah.
Ingenium. So essentially, he
Right.
effectively
Which
killed
that
Ingenium.
just builds on what I'm saying. Like we know that there's deaths in this series somewhere. Like there's death somewhere in the world of My Hero.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. That I don't think the ante has been ever upped. I think death's always been there. But as I said before, is like we just had villains that just weren't doing much. Shigaraki, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
just the reason why Snatch's death is kind of important, even if it was a footnote, was that Shigaraki finally killed somebody, or or like the legal villains finally killed somebody, because
Yeah.
they've been trying, but unfortunately because of All Might they've been failing. Um, so it's just one of those. It's just like I said before. It's kind of like why I find Shigaraki doing what he was doing last episode to be kind of like badass.
Mm-hmm.
It was because that he he was like essentially nobody could stop him. Up to this point, nobody can stop him now. Like he can do what he wants and with no consequences. And he's
Yeah.
he's finally leveled up in his own words to the point where he's thinking now. He knows what he's doing. He's a lot more competent now than he was before, which is kind of scary because it's one thing to be an incompetent villain, but that villain will become competent. You kind of have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like why, like back in the day when '90s cartoons, a lot of villains, like I guess Batman would be like a good example. Before Batman made the switch over to darkness, to being dark and edgy, a lot of Batman was just comedy. It wasn't to be taken seriously. He was just a grown man running on in blue and gray tights. So even in Joker, for instance, he was just funny to watch. I mean, he's still funny to watch, but like Joker didn't do a lot either. A lot of his plans weren't lethal.
Right.
So
To your point about responsibility, so now people can be killed, like that the shield of All Might coming in to save the day, and there's no need to fear because he is here is kind of gone is interesting. There is also a theme of responsibility through this. There's the Eraserhead talking to Midoriya and saying, "You, when they're watching the snatch death scene and the attack, him saying to him like, don't feel guilty. That you did everything right. There was nothing more you could have done." Yada yada. And Midoriya is still looking pretty upset about it and like needing that consolation. And then you see Mario Lemillion like struggling to smile, and despite his feelings of guilt too. And then you see Midoriya's guilt saying like, I think I shouldn't have gotten the All Might quirk. And I think, I mean, I think maybe Midoriya feels like he shouldn't have gotten the All Might quirk. He's struggling with that. I'm thinking maybe the wrong person was chosen. And I wonder if some of that, like with the snatch guy, I wonder if part of that was that, like that Midoriya is thinking, man, if I was All Might, I would have shown up somehow. I would have been there somehow. There wouldn't have been death. There would have been nothing to fear because I would have been there, and yada yada yada. And here I am, not being All Might, not being that symbol of peace and that perfect hero that can do everything and anything at the same time. Because he didn't show up to save the day, and someone got killed. And like you said, like right until All Might was there, like was on the scene, he was always there to save people from having to die. And now there's Midoriya, and people are dying, and he must feel a lot of additional guilt, and that must feed into that dilemma that he has later in the episode, where he's like where he's wondering if he really deserved the power he got, or if somebody more worthy should have taken it. And there's the juxtaposition of Mirio like going, I don't have I'm still going to be this guy that was probably just as worthy as you to get this quirk, and here you are with a quirk, and now I don't have one, and you could give it to me. And he almost does. He says, "What if I told you I could give it to you? Like you, what if that conversation had gone differently? Would he have given Lemillion his quirk and gone on without it? He's selfless enough to do something like that. So if he doubted his worthiness, maybe he would have if Lemillion had been more willing and less like stop talking like that, and reassuring him that he was good enough."
Yeah, as you were going through all that, I do realize that I was probably, well, not probably, I know I was actually wrong about Goofy Batman era, but I was more referring to that in terms of when I first saw it at Lazar. I definitely, because of Boomerang, I definitely wouldn't have been around for that. I do remember seeing Goofy Batman at some point. I just don't know when it first was a thing. But thank you for correcting me. It was the 70s and 60s where he was Goofy. But back to you were saying, yeah, I was like, when you're going through all that, I was getting lots of ideas, I guess, as we wind this down. But essentially, yeah, like it's one of those things where it's kind of interesting that we sometimes forget that the characters that we're watching, the ones that we're like the ones that are following their journey, are kids. It's like a perfect example of this is when Bakugo, was fighting on Deku for the second time, and we saw like well, the good example is like when All Might finally retired. We saw
Mhm.
that beforehand when Bakugo was first introduced to the series, we saw him as this hard character. He didn't care about anything. He didn't let nothing get to him. He was this and that. He was gonna be the OG of the hero world, for lack of a better term. He wasn't gonna let anybody beat him. But and we didn't see a lot of his failures get to him because he always I mean the closest thing we saw when he first got to him was when he lost to Deku during his first fight. Um, and we saw that All Might was trying to console him, and but Bakugo wasn't letting him do that. He essentially like, pushed him off and walked on his own, with his own gangster walk, saying that I won't lose to you again. But when All Might finally retired, and all this stuff happened, and he let it all out in front of Deku, saying that why was it that All Might had to retire if he didn't do all that? If it wasn't for me and my weakness, he probably would have still been a hero and stuff like that. We saw that
Yeah.
as we forget that these are children who are like 15, 16 years old and going to high school.
Mhm.
We forget that a lot, which is I guess a good example is when you bring up that Azawa said that you did all you could do. We're at fault here. I think this show does a good job of showing that there is definitely a line there that these are kid characters and these are adult characters, and a lot of the seriousness that gets put forward is on the adult side. A lot of the kids don't have to deal with that. Now, every now and then we see the kids make irreparable like decisions that they can't fix later on, such as Deku messing up his arm,
Yeah.
um, Ida losing his feeling in his fingers during his fight with Stain.
Mm.
Um, Prince Bakugo feeling like Bakugo fighting Deku for the second time. Granted, I don't think Bakugo survived, took any real damage at all. Not yet, anyway. He said he pretty much
He was
like,
kidnapped, so that was psychological.
well, yeah, psychological damage. Yeah, I was trying to figure. I know it was calling Bakugo for something, but yeah, Bakugo had psychological damage. He kind of kidnapped, so he felt helpless. Todoroki's just dealing with his own demons with his father. Uh,
Yeah.
that he shouldn't be dealing with right now, but like I said before, topic for another time.
But for the first time in the series, Midoriya's demon is, am I good enough? Like
I
when
think
he
his
was, what's
demon's
the
always
name of the
been, am
girl
I
with
good
the horn?
enough?
What's the name of the girl with the horn for a head?
Eerie.
Like on her Eerie. So in the scene where he's fighting with Eerie, he has, and he's facing down Overhaul, and he goes, "If I can't save this in front of me, what am I gonna be able to do?" Now, if you juxtapose that with the conflict he has in his head of, here's this guy that his goal in life is to save 1 million people, and he just got taken out in a large way as a hero. He's just really been knocked down a huge peg from this situation. Like, and his goal was to save 1 million people, and here I am struggling just to save this one girl. And if I can't do this, like, what am I even doing here? Is basically going on in his head. And he's just got so much guilt and stuff like that. But like, there was a moment before that where he was like, I don't care if this is my fate. I'm going to twist fate to make this happen. And he's had moments like that throughout the whole thing where he was like the beacon of hope and the beacon of resolve. And that was like the great thing about him. But this stuff about him doubting himself, like he's always had moments of doubt and uncertainty, but he's never like, when the prospect of getting a quirk from All Might was first put out there, he's like, what do I do? And he's like, well, we're going to beat you into shape. And he's like, okay, what do I do? And he's like, clean this beach single-handedly. And he's like, girl, I'm on it. And he did even more than All Might thought he would. And All Might's like, whoa, that even exceeded my expectations. And then he went and took the test, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to get into this no matter what. And he's like ripping his body apart to get into it. And you see that in other scenes in this, that he just doesn't care what the consequences are. He's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to rise up. Plus Ultra is his personal cry for battle. And now you see him in this unique place where he's lost morale in a way that is fundamentally not how he's ever lost morale before. It's not a moment of doubt or uncertainty or fear or something like that. It's, what am I even doing? Like, why am I even here? Like, have I accepted something that's creating tragedies because someone that's not worthy enough took it instead of the right person? Should I give this quirk away? Like, what? Like, am I ever going to be good enough? Like, these are things that he's never really explored in this way before. He's always said, oh no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the symbol of hope. You can count on me, All Might. Now he's like lost that edge to him.
But here's the thing with Deku. He's always, you said that he's now dealing with like his own feelings of self worth and self doubt. He's always
Mm-hmm.
had these feelings of self worth and self doubt. He even way before All Might proposed the quirk to him, he always wanted to be a hero when he was growing up. But as a little kid, we saw this. Like he was all excited at 4 years old, just bouncing up and down in a chair, looking at a picture, looking at a video of All Might saving people over and over again. This was his ideal. The All Might was his ideal of a hero. It's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things where it says this is a kind of a perfect. This anime is kind of personified. Never meet your hero, but this isn't one of those situations where the hero is a bad person. He's just not what he thought he was, and we saw this. This is all coming as a point as I was bringing up the fact that Deku was a kid. This is all coming down on him so fast. First of all, he was given a quirk from his hero. First of all, something that a lot of people would dream about. His dream came true. He got his wish. He not only did he get a quirk, he got it from a person that he admired his entire life up to that point. Now, like you say, he's
Sure.
training. He's training, and he's training. But at the back of his mind, he's never expressed it. But I'm pretty sure he's always had feelings like, "Am I worth it?" I think he's even expressed that. Am I really worth all the trouble that All Might's doing this for me? And this is before All Might retired. Am I really worth all this trouble? Um, and this is even before he encountered people who knew about All Might's situation. Like nobody really even questioned whether Deku was worth it or not. But it wasn't until like all this stuff happened, such as All Might losing his quirk, during his final All for One, Deku at this point, when All Might pointed at him through this big screen saying that you are next, Deku's feelings got worse because, he now has to become the symbol of peace. The world doesn't have one anymore. And he's supposed to be the next one. But in All Might, it's kind of at fault for this too because he's the one who put all this pressure on Deku in the first place.
Right.
I think like All Might even said when Bakugo was like crying and he felt like he was at fault for him losing his quirk. He said he forgot he keeps forgetting that you were children. Like All Might
Mm.
is essentially kind of at fault here for Deku. Um, is this what Deku needs to actually get to where he needs to be? Sure, yeah. I'm pretty sure this is kind of something he needs to get. He needs to get a boot up his butt now because um unlike everybody else in his class, he hadn't had his quirk since birth. Well, since he was 4 years old. So he doesn't know what the limits are. He doesn't know he knows the limits. He breaks himself is the limit, but he doesn't know the limits of his own power yet. And as he said before, as he said during this episode, he had to depend on the girl he was trying to save to actually save
Mm.
her, and that hurts his morale. Mainly because he was supposed to be saving her, but in reality, she saved him. Granted, he did save her too, so it was more one of those circle things. But Deku's always looked at the negative versus looking at the positive. We saw this
Yeah.
through his entire character. Whenever he mutters to himself, he's always muttering all the bad things that can happen. He hasn't done
Well,
it in a
he's also
while.
strategizing when he does it, but yeah, breakdown.
He doesn't try that as much anymore. I mean, he's only done it a couple times recently, but yeah, like
Yeah, it's a habit that seems to have gone away a lot now that he has options, and he seems to be more trained to like react on his instincts a little bit more and trust them.
But yeah, like, with your whole concept of like, I had this really weird idea when he brought it up. Like, I was gonna give you my quirk. The question I had was, this has never been explored, and I really think they should explore this idea. Now, the quirk can only be passed on when the person wants the quirk to be passed on. Is it possible the previous successor, if they were still alive, could they get the quirk again? If their successor were to pass it back to them.
I would imagine so.
I mean, you would think so with how they explain how the quirk works, but maybe that's not the case.
I'm sure it's never happened before, so we wouldn't know some of the subtleties of it.
It's just one of those things where I kind of like thought about. I was like, is it possible for that to happen or no? But yeah, but I think that's about it. Like, next episode is essentially we're dealing with Todoroki and Bakugo's test, and apparently all those little children,
Mm-hmm.
they're all gonna die.
Wow.
That's a really dark way to look at it, but they're dealing with Bakugo, and we saw the image of Bakugo, Todoroki, Kami, and is his name Shoya, the guy with the wind? I forgot his name.
I'm not sure.
The wind dude.
I'm kind of glad to see him again, though.
I mean, yeah, he's all right. I mean, I just kind of wish his character wasn't all about "I hate you because of your father," but
Well, they'll probably get over that now.
I hope they do. I mean, you say that, but Todoroki's still on this whole that I can't use my quirk because anytime I try using my fire abilities, I think about my father. But we'll talk about that next time. See you guys then.